Pam Bondi reeling with some fallout after releasing these files, calling them the first phase of the declassified Epstein files. Problem with these files is we've seen all of them before, especially if you've been with us here. We covered the Ghislaine Maxwell trial at length, and all of these items were items we've discussed. Contact book, masseuse list, flight log. You've seen this stuff before. You can even see here, these are government exhibits, right? These were submitted in trial as evidence. So they're already part of the record. And there are some people saying that some of these files are even more redacted than they were before. Now, I haven't gone through all hundreds and hundreds of pages to confirm or verify that, but the general consensus is that the files are nothing new. So they're a dud. So Pam Bondi released them. We saw that Kash Patel came out and was issuing a new statement, but Pam Bondi's release also caught the attention of Anna Paulina Luna, who of course has been demanding these files. And she said, yeah, the DOJ has just released the old Epstein documents, the same ones given out in the binders today. It's titled it Part 1. The documents are below. There's nothing new there, right? So everybody's going, oh, okay, it's not really great. New York Times posting the same, said the Epstein files released, hyped by Pam, falls short of the expectations, saying that there was a contact list. It was met with criticism, who expected the documents to reveal new information, but they didn't release any new information. Saying for days, Bondi had talked about releasing these things, but the roughly 200 pages of documents contain little new information or any other wrongdoing. Anyone other than Epstein. The document dump largely consisted of flight logs long ago made public and contact information for hundreds of associates, along with brief descriptions of items. Now, the release was billed as a gesture of ushering in a new era of transparency and so on. But the news was hyped up, right? They said, this is on my desk. And we played the clip from Alina Ava saying there's going to be probably charges coming out, and a bunch of people. And did you guys even look at these things? It's confusing. Day-long rollout, even spun off a few new conspiracy theories. Great. On Thursday, Bondi and Kash, the director of the FBI, offered a sneak preview, calling it Phase 1. One of them called it later an interesting souvenir. Of course, we called it basically a pacifier for those of us who are demanding the records or justice be done. Now, by mid-afternoon, the Justice Department had not posted the contents, but of course they then did. Bondi responded by promising more documents to come, saying that there will be more released. A bunch of people say, this is not what we asked for. This is not the information we wanted, said Anna Paulina Luna. We know the backstory on Jeffrey, and there were many names in the original list, right? The original list included Leslie Wexner, Leon Black, Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman. All of them have tried to reverse course on their association with him. The most notable flight log was a 118-page document produced, as we saw, during the criminal trial of Ghislaine, right? We saw, oh, there it is. One of Mr. Epstein's longtime associates and former girlfriend, the only person convicted. And of course, for years, they say there are conspiracy theories about Epstein. Yeah, okay, no, we're all just making it up. No, Epstein was just your run-of-the-mill, regular old pervert with too much money. Sure. Says the documents released by Bondi include partial descriptions of those, some evidence, and we saw all of this. Remember, we even saw photographs during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, which haven't even been made public yet. So should we just release the rest of like Phase 2 and Phase 3? Because we got a lot of exhibits and a lot of photographs that we saw captured during the trial. If they're just going to release tranches of evidence from the trial, this is going to be pretty boring. But New York Times, of course, reporting things have fallen short. Pam Bondi was actually talking about this. This was last night on the Mark Levin show, February 27, 2025. Here's what Pam Bondi said.
As you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through it and I kept saying, there has to be more. There has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses. But the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK. They will get Martin Luther King.
She says we're going to get it. So we'll see. Now, yesterday, I don't think was a great showing for effort, but we also understand that there is a lot happening there. And even Elon is saying, look, give her a little bit of time here, saying, look, imagine if you were suddenly appointed AG or head of the FBI. You were just thrown on a ship with a hostile crew. Until you appoint some new crew members and figure out the ropes, you can't steer the ship effectively. It's literally impossible. And this was echoing a point we made yesterday on the show, which is not that Elon is like stealing our content or anything, but it is the idea that Pam is grappling with an 800-pound gorilla right now, and it's very difficult to do that. So we want to give her a little bit of time and the benefit of the doubt. I think what people are mostly upset about, and the sourness, the sour taste that everybody has, is it feels like the original message didn't match the release, right? We saw a lot of hype around what was coming, and then that didn't match. And so that's where the disconnect was. And then the rollout with binders to people and stuff felt like something strange happening, especially when there was literally nothing new coming out. Like they could have just said, look, this first tranche of material is going to be very basic. You're going to have seen it all before, but we're just laying a foundation for whatever reason. It actually just felt here, take this, here, some stupid records. Hopefully these influencers just are infatuated by the experience and they don't think twice about anything. And the rest of us are just, I guess those are the foils. Even though we covered the entire trial and we know what is out there, we want the actual truth and we don't want to be treated like dumb morons. But I do understand Elon's point, and I think both things can be true. They can botch the rollout and they can also be trying to deal with a virtually impossible situation, as we explored yesterday, saying this has been going on for decades, literal decades. And if they took out Epstein, and if you believe that, as many do, then why would they leave the files just in a manila file folder and shove them on Pam's desk? Obviously, they wouldn't. Kash Patel, he came out and he said, look, the FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution. And under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. And again, same grace can apply to Kash Patel. If you're feeling like a graceful person, then he has been in power even less time than Pam Bondi has, like 2 weeks over there. Now, again, if they're hidden, you'll uncover them. What if they're destroyed, right? If they're gaps, we'll find them. What if they're destroyed? You know that they exist because somebody sent emails, but then on the recipient of those emails nuked all of their emails, and you go and you start finding these little rabbit holes. What then? Are we going to prosecute those people? I certainly hope so, because that feels like obstruction. Now, here is what Nick Freitas had to say about this. He was somebody who was in the room when they got handed the binders. You can see he's a combat veteran representing the Madison district in the VA House of Delegates. All right. And here is what his report was from inside.
All right. Social media has been blowing up, and I think it has something to do with. Yeah, that right there. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I was in the room when Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, the Attorney General and the Director of the FBI, were handing these out. And right off the bat, one of the first things they said was, we're going to be releasing this to the public. What you need to understand is that there really isn't a smoking gun in the new information that we have available, except for the fact that it has become evident that certain members of the FBI have been withholding information from the Attorney General's office. Now, the AG has been pursuing this, but now we have a new director of the FBI, Kash Patel. So what we finally have is an Attorney General and a director of the FBI that actually wants to get to the bottom of this and will hold accountable not only the people on the Epstein list, but the people within the government who have been withholding key information in order to subvert prosecution. Now, as information becomes available, they have to be careful because they have to weigh what they need to get out to the public at the same time that they're going to need to be able to prosecute certain individuals. So I understand that. Here's what I'm saying. I know we're all frustrated about this because we should have had a lot more information a lot sooner. But I genuinely believe that we have people in power now that want to do something about it. And quite frankly, I'm willing to let them cook.
All right. So I can understand that, right? I think it would have been smarter if they would have led with that. But that could have been a much better public rollout and PR interface to say, hey, we were planning on releasing all of this stuff, but they're obstructing. They have thousands of pages that are not delivered. And then Pam Bondi would have to walk back her statement about they're sitting on my desk. So I was expecting it to be the outline, and I wanted the rest of the documents. They didn't turn those over. So she could have walked that statement back a little bit. But the 200 pages that were ultimately on her desk, that was not anywhere even close to the entire universe of these documents. The documents should be millions of pages. Remember, Trump's January 6th case was millions of pages. Why would this be anything different?